things. The royal purple robe says it all. Please, put your hands together nicely and give a warm, warm feeling to Joshua Gage! Yeah!
Thank you.
Oh, that was the poem that you made about the exploding butterfly.
Yeah. Nobody mentioned the oil that we had.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Minty.
Minty.
All
With
right.
olive oil, too.
Extra virgin.
Not anymore.
Not when we're done with it. All right. I'm going to read a couple poems out of my chapbook. I've got a couple of copies if you want to buy one, or we'll trade for whiskey or whatever.
Okay, we're there.
Yeah. All right. Just because of the weather that we've been having recently, this is Deep Cleveland Lenten Blues. I based this chapbook off of Kerouac's blues form, where you sit down and write something every day, and it's all related. And this is my version. Mark was kind enough to publish it in 2004. Yeah, thank you, Mark. What he didn't mention is that I published his book in 2003, and he's got copies of those for sale.
Indeed, I do.
Yeah, all right. So this is Chorus 11 out of Deep Cleveland Lenten Blues. It's March, and yet it feels like spring. And yeah, you gotta be from Cleveland to get that joke. But it's March, and yet it feels like spring. Lord, we offer up praises for pretty miracles and women finally wearing skirts because it's March, and yet it feels like spring. Somewhere, an iris erupts through melting snow. And then, one that's actually more accurate to the weather in March. This is Chorus 27. Notice that's like 2 weeks later. Layers of snow like the ghosts of Robert Frost and his horse. My lips shiver for a cigarette, a whiskey, a sip of her neck. She bends for her bag and the tag of her underwear like the tail of a deer kicking up snow in the moonlight. The miles home like the curls of her hair. And I'll read one more, and I'll finish up with a couple from the book. But this is Chorus 30. This is inspired by my friend Eric Anderson. I was having trouble at school, and I came into the Whiskey Island office slamming stuff and throwing things, and he gave me the first line of this poem. This was his advice to me, and I think I took it the wrong way. Chorus 30. Well, you can get over it or go to your grave pissed. I say unto you, when they bury me, my rage will flare so hot the coffin wood will warp. The stone will hiss molten and crack, and the ground will swell black like the plague. And yet, one night, a child will sneak in, bathed in rags of moonlight, and plant a seed into the rot of my body, that it may wrap its roots round my bones and spread its crimson petals awake. Steve mentioned the poetic form ghazal. It's actually pronounced ghazal. And I've got one for you, which is dedicated to this jerk I know named Mark. He's sitting right there. I'm his tool at the readings. Yeah, that one, yeah. He published this too, because he's a nice guy like that. With smoke. The morning bell's hymns rise with smoke, while the swinging censer cries with smoke. We will tattoo your flesh with lines of charcoal. We will paint your weeping eyes with smoke. The leaf fire seduces the autumn wind, lapping the knots it ties with smoke. The sulfur fumes reek across clouds, but the wailing angel still flies with smoke. The hunter licks the blood from his nails, while the dangling corpse dries with smoke. We sleep beneath Aries' vesper candles, Our wax dreams slip to the skies with smoke. The prophet burns his hair with lilies, praying that he grow wise with smoke. And thank you. A couple of nights ago, David Young was reading at John Carroll. A couple of us were Thursday night. Okay, thanks. Yeah, Steve was there, Jack was there, a couple of us were there. And he read a couple poems by Dumu. He's got a translation coming out on Rager Media out of Akron, I think he said, somewhere in that area. They're publishing my book in 2008. So that was sort of cool. I'm on the same press as David Young. I was so excited. Geeky fanboy. But then he read a couple. I was so goopy. Oh my God, David Young, woo! And I get goopy around famous people. I'll admit it. I don't care.
It's just normal around me.
Right.
You never did that when I was in your presence.
Well, you hadn't won the award yet. I'll get goopy around you, Jack. It's okay. But he then read a couple poems, and he said obviously they were influenced by Chinese poetry, and I'd been reading some poems that were influenced by Chinese poetry, so I'm just going to read a couple of those. This one's called Late Autumn. A breeze from the west scours the night with cold. I remain with the river to haunt these stones. The blade of the moon harvests smoke from the village. Out of their window, people see only clouds and snow. And then this one is called The Pilgrim's Wife. My heart is a village filled with people who love you, and yet you must leave and walk to the mountain. What echoes to you from those cold crags? What voice draws you to that black stone? Tonight, when the wind warms your back, know it is the breath of my temple. My people pray for your safe return. And I'll do a couple political ones. I'm currently working on a chapbook based on medieval riddle poems out of the Book of Exeter. I highly recommend them. They take like a common object like a plow or an ox or a boat and come up with these incredible metaphors about them. And I was just sort of drawn to that style of metaphor and that style of writing. So I'm writing a couple of these, and hopefully you'll see what I mean.
Medieval riddle?
Yeah, medieval riddle poems. There are a couple of different translated. Look up Book of Exeter, and it's a collection, untitled poems, and so people actually have to figure out what their meanings are. It's really interesting stuff. But the metaphors that they use, that's what drew me to them, is the depth of metaphor. And they just metaphor after metaphor after metaphor, and just really interesting ways of looking at things. So I tried to write a couple. I'm not as successful as the people who wrote those, but this is...
We're a lot younger than they are.
Maybe. If we're at the Middle Ages, I'd be dead by now, you know. Like, I'm old for the Middle Ages, right? So, like, something like grass. I am the carpet you sweep your errors beneath. You corner me with fences and sidewalks, lies that you are in control of nature. I rebel, force through concrete, grow despite your blades. You will die, and people will forget your borders. They will only see me poured over body and stone. And then, revenge. Wine from the orchards where you sow your sin. My song is the silence after the mosquito in your ear gets slapped. I am the murder that continues to kill. Two mirrors, like two generals, stare each other down. The corpses between them stretch on forever. And then one more sort of political. Energy. Parked on a highway, car snarls next to car, behind a semi whose chimney coughs and chokes the air black. The sun stretches a morning into a cobalt sky. Below, the fields of corn wait, glazed with dew. And I'll read a couple more from the book, and then we'll go to the open mic. I don't know if anybody's ever had a bad breakup here. I have. And
that's my wife.
That's your...
My ex-wife.
I should probably mention that my wife actually wants me to sell these because she's tired of love poems to other women lying around the house. So if you could buy these and help me out, it'd be great. Again, most of the profits I'm making are going right back to the bar. They're $5, or I'll trade for beer and whiskey. That's cool.
Trade for other poetry?
Sure. All right, we got that. Sure. So this is chorus 15. My fiance, or ex-fiance, I should say, sent me back all my love letters and love poems that I wrote to her, and said, "Here, I don't need these anymore." Which is, stab, twist, yeah, like you're right, So I had to figure out something positive to do with this, because if I didn't, I would just wallow in my misery. So this is chorus 15. This happened, of course, in the middle of writing this. So this is what I did with that. Wind off the lake, the sky thick with pre-rain gray. Here, Lord, burn these letters, returned love poems, fantasies unanswered, kisses unresolved. Blow their ashes through this midnight Cindy into the nightmares of orphans, to appear there as glowing angels and miraculous unicorns, that, when I die, my dust may be scattered down the Cuyahoga into the dreams of every underground vagrant and steel-forged soul, that we may break bread and possibly swap jokes, because I ain't heard a good one in a long while. And then, this is actually, let me see if I can find the one that Jim likes first, because he's here. This is chorus 23. This is the one that Jim likes. She claws like a frothing beast into her chest, cracking bone and sinew until her body is little more than dust. She hands me her heart like an orange, or a glass jar of summer fireflies steamed over with the prayers of her breath. It is unripe, sour, but I love it because it is sour and because it is her heart. I think Jim actually... Who did I steal that from?
It's Crane.
Crane, Stephen Crane, that's it, yeah. And
walk softly because...
the one about coming across the beast, and it is bitter because the beast is eating his heart. It's an incredible poem, and I feel like
it's bitter because it is my heart.
Yeah, I enjoy the taste because it is bitter and because it is in my heart. And that's a great phrasing. I have to steal that somehow. So that's what I did with that. But yeah, I like Hart Crane better. Yeah, I heard that. No. He's one of ours. That's where we like Hart Crane. He's one of ours. He knows. I'm going to end with this. This happy, sort of funny one. All right, this is chorus 33. The Lord may have separated the light from the dark, and it was good. But the devil invented mornings and daylight savings time. And while the Lord may have created woman, it is the devil that wields hips in a conversation when the only coffee available is decaf. And damn if walking away she doesn't slice suns off the branches of the night sky. Thank you very much.
If I say so myself, I booked really well tonight.